guys, Nick here. Welcome to Odyssey Custom Vans. We're at the back of the shop and we're ready to show you our 2020 Ford Transit. This is one of our newest builds. So this is a mid-roof and is actually built for a Marine veteran. His name is Thomas and we've been working on his van for the last couple months. It's now finished, so we wanted to take you through a tour. He is a disabled military vet, and this is a very special build. So we have designed it to accommodate his motorized wheelchair as well as other accessories in here. It's really cool inside, so I can't wait to show you. We're going to start off with the front of the van, and then when we get inside, we'll tell the story about how the interior layout came about, because it's pretty interesting. Let's walk around the front. So again, this is a 2020 Ford Transit. The engine is the EcoBoost, so that's the turbocharged V6, so ton of power. It is an all-wheel drive van. So starting from the front here, we have our CA Tune front bumper with a Warn winch. Got a Factor 55 fair lead, and then this van is decked out in a ton of Baja design lights. So we've got two of the amber LP6s right here. Moving on up, we've gone with the Squadron Pros for our ditch lights. And then we're finishing up top with a, it's not a curved light bar, but is a straight light bar from Baja Designs, integrating the amber and the clear LEDs. It's extremely bright. And then last but not least, on the front, we went with the, this is the UK Transit Trail front grille. It is a Ford product. And this is, you would call it like a Raptor style grille. It's really popular, it's a really cool look. You do have to get it from overseas, you can't buy it direct from the US. But check out some links to our other videos where you can see it's installed as well as where to purchase it. Down at the bottom here, we actually did this yesterday before we got ready for this tour, and these are diode dynamic fog lights. They're from Freedom Van Go through their Van Parts warehouse, and you can actually buy this kit. We just did a review video to where you can actually see the install of this, but this kit, it's a direct bolt-in. They give you the trim ring and the frame, and it takes 10 minutes to install each side, and I mean, it looks incredible. Moving on back, we have BFG KO2 tires. All-terrain tires. Everyone loves these tires. They're on the Black Rhino rims. We have a Dometic awning, and we're going to put all this in the description below, so don't worry about picking up any of the details for the parts. That is with a Flatline Vanco, their new version roof rack. Up top, we have 550 watts of solar, and we're going to show you that in just a second towards the end of the video, a little bit more in depth on how we have that laid out. Up top, we also have two Max Air fans, and they're the Max Fan Deluxe, so the 7500. We'll walk around the back here. We have an aluminous tire carrier, and then we have a spare tire on the back. Up top, you'll see that we have more Squadron Pros. So we got the two ditch lights, then we have 1, 2, 3 of the Squadron Pros, and we actually have an IR, so an infrared light that can be turned on to enhance the night vision camera. Nothing on this side, so no ladder or anything like that to get up on top of the van. Before we get inside, what I want to do is just talk about the story about how this van came to be. So you can see with the American flag, once Marine, always Marine. So Thomas is a Marine, and this van is built for his para-golfer. So he does shooting sports and as well as golf tournaments in a para-golfer. It's pretty cool. Essentially a off-road wheelchair. And we don't have it today, but I'll show you how we load it into the van. So we needed a way for the wheelchair to get in here, and Thomas had this installed. So this is an aluminum ramp. It looks kind of complicated, and it looks like you would not be able to actually open this up yourself, but you can. So if we come here, comes down, we put the safety pins in. And so now we have a way for him to drive his Paragolfer into the van. So just show you the back here. We're actually going to go through the front, and that's where we'll begin the inside tour. But back here in the back, we have designed it so that it is just as wide as the ramp, so that anything that he wants to drive in here, he can fit. We have integrated L-track, and we actually have adjustable tie-down points, so that whoever is helping him tie the Paragolfer down, you can use these to lock in, and this way you can tie down whatever you're doing. So this ties down the back of the Paragolfer, and then up here in the front, to make sure it doesn't twist, we've got one more piece of L-track right here. And this is bolted through the body, all the way through the body, with 3 grade 8 bolts. And then back here we have 1, 2, 3 grade 8 bolts, and again, through the chassis. So it's not just bolted into the floor. So extremely strong. So in the back, storage is premium in any van. So these nets back here in this wall are just to house anything. He actually keeps his hose, water hose parts for filling the van, the water filter, all on this panel right here. And then down here below, this is where we have the water fill. Then we have the mixer valve, so hot and cold. We have our rear spray down hose. And so that's all here in the back. We come onto this side over here. This is part of our power system. So we have a Red Arc Manager 30 system, and we also have the Red Vision, so the complete system. So we'll talk about the power here in just a second. And then up here we have our ARB air compressor, and then this is our secondary solar charge controller. So the Red Arc system has an MPPT controller, but this is our secondary system, and we added this later so that he could get, he wouldn't have to drive as far to completely charge the system, because it's really sunny where he lives. So if he's only doing weekender trips throughout the week, these 2 systems can make the most of the solar and keep the whole entire system topped off. So we're going to step around the back, and we're going to go into the van, and we are going to start the fun part of the tour, which is the inside. So the back, we kind of went over how the van came to be, what this van is doing as far as transporting his wheelchairs, Paragolfers, stuff like that. So you may ask, is he going to take out that ramp every single time to get in the van? No. So the secondary system, or this is the primary really, this is his wheelchair lift to get in the van. So this system comes down. It's very simple, very quiet. And so he'll wheel right into here, hop in, get his carabiners, clip into the wheelchair, and this will actually bring him up into the van. So he can come in, and then it'll continue. Make sure we don't get our little bug wall. But that it continues inside the van. He can unclip, get in the van, and then just retract it back right there. And then we'll just take this little bit of Velcro so it doesn't move around when he's driving. Some of the safety features that we upgraded in this van are the battery combiner right here. So the battery combiner, so what you're looking at right here, this is the main power system shutoff for the lithium batteries. Down here, we have our solar disconnect, and I'll tell you why that's important in just a second. So this first one is the battery combiner, and it's a on-off switch first. It's a battery combiner second. So if you need to turn this off to store the van, you can turn it off and all the power's off. However, the reason you always need to have a solar disconnect switch handy is because if this is off, we have significant solar on the roof, so there's still power. The van's still being powered even though you're disconnecting the batteries. So you need to make sure that you have this cut off as well. The battery combiner is needed. So this is something I thought up when I was watching this operate. If Thomas was to get in the van and this was initially running off of the engine battery, and let's just say something happened, a fuse blew, he would be stranded midair. So we didn't want that. So the battery combiner is going to allow him to momentarily combine the house batteries and the engine batteries so that he can continue to power the lift, get in or out of the van, whatever he was doing. You don't want to combine the batteries for longer than, let's say, a minute or so. It's more for emergencies. Technically, you can use this to jump start your engine battery, but really this is just for emergency use only. But if you're in this type of situation or have the potential to be in this situation, this is a good fail-safe. So moving into the van, you can see that we don't have a step right here. Actually, we did have a step because it came with the floor kit that we're using from ABC Rig. But there's not a place to wheel around inside the van. So what we did is I took the piece that we did use, I repurposed it, put it back in here, and then we built out this full extension so that there's much more room to turn around in here with a wheelchair. So we're going to come in here just a little bit further into the driver and passenger area, and you can see we have two Ford factory swivels. One on this side and then one on this side. We have everybody's favorite table in the van world, the Lagoon table, with a nice big epoxied butcher block on top. Thomas really likes this because, as you can imagine, having something like this to be able to wheel up to, prep, make food, get in your laptop, it's really convenient. The door's open. He can leave this here, get back, get in and out of the van, and then, come back in. So this works out really well. There's a special mount right here. You can find this online, eBay. A lot of people on Etsy actually make this mount. Not this specific one, but you can find this mount. So it may be hard to find at first, but if you Google a little bit, you can find this mount. And then what we're going to do is put together a list of these items that I'm pointing out, and then that way, if you want to find them, you'll have a quick link to check it out. So up on top of our driver passenger area, we have the Van Wives shelf up here, and I've upholstered it with the same fabric that is throughout the van. And you're probably wondering why this is such a small opening. Well, this shelf was designed for a high roof van. We're in a medium roof van. So that is why this is here. But it's enough to hold the window covers. Down here, so we're just going to go from the front and we're just going to move our way back. We will talk about the power system. So while we're here, this is our fuse coming from the house, the engine batteries to our DC to DC charger for the RedArc Red Vision system, so the Manager 30 specifically, and that comes back here. Now typically you guys can see all these wires. In a professional build, you want to hide as much wires as possible, make everything look as nice as you can. The challenge with these wires is once we did the floor system, we got really excited about Baja Design lights, and we kept adding lights and adding lights and adding more lights, and these are all the power wires supplying power to all the Baja Design lights. There's a lot, and the power consumption is pretty high, even though they're LED. So this is just here because of the way that we had to run the wires, but you know, Thomas is happy with everything. Moving inside here, we have the Level Mate Pro. So this is an RV leveling device. So this will link up with your phone, and you can find out if your van is level, so that you have a nice flat level place to sleep. So when you're driving your van, you can get it to somewhere where it's level as possible. And then we actually have these inflatable bladders that Thomas bought, and you can drive over them with your tires, and then using the ARB air compressor in their back, he can hold his phone, air up one side, and wait till it's level, turn it off, and then he's good to go. And that way he can sleep comfortably in the back. On top of this, we have a really cool outlet. So this outlet, it's from our inverter, and it's a normal household outlet, so your 110 outlet. But then what's nice is it has USB-C charging, and it has USB A port, so a C and an A port, and to household. Because when you're building a van, you don't want to have all these multiple outlets. If everything is integrated into one, it makes it really easy. This is the outlet that he uses to run his Keurig, and his Keurig is in this custom pull-out shelf right here. So this is pretty much, the kitchen itself. We've got a Keurig, we've got, spices, cups, all that type of stuff in here. And not only is this soft close, but it also has a positive marine latch here. I love these pull latches. They're my favorite ones to use because they do a nice positive latch. A little pro tip here. I don't know if you guys can see it. You can't see it on this one. We'll look on here. But so picking up, this is his Keurig. He'll put it up here, and then he will plug it in right there. So let's move over here. Okay, that's where I left off. In the kitchen? In the kitchen. This is where all the complicated systems are. Now, the reason I say complex is because, check this out. This van came with a rear air conditioner. I relocated the rear air conditioner to the middle of the van, and there's two outlets here. You probably saw it in the beginning of the video. So before I open this up, we have a pull-out cabinet. We have a rear-mounted Ford AC that's been relocated. We have a 2.5 gallon hot water heater. We have a 7 gallon gray tank, all inside here. So the engineering behind this, and the water pump. So the engineering behind this was to the 1/8 of an inch. I mean, everything was so specific in here. It was a challenge, but it was a fun challenge to get this all to fit. This is the tank from Panther RV that I like so much because it has a nice big lid. The thing about gray tanks is that they're really hard to clean because they usually have just a tiny opening. This one you can really get your hand in there and scrub it out. It has a pull handle, and then it has a brass fitting here for the drain. And then we have this hooked up to this LK sink. If you look, come back in here one more time. That's our Seaflow water pump. And then down here, this is the little hack I was showing you guys. If you have a felt stopper that's adjustable, when you shut your door, you can dial it in to have some back pressure on the door so that when the door shuts, it doesn't rattle when you're driving. But that's our system. We got 2.5 gallons of hot water, 7 gallons of gray. So this whole entire system is in here. This is the LK sink. Really enjoy it. Yeah, come up in here. This is nice because it's a black sink with a black faucet. It looks really cool. Thomas actually had someone make this custom cutting board for it with a little finger hole. So you pull this out, and then you get access to the sink. So check it out. This sink is the reason I got this sink. If you look here, you'll notice this is back. It's offset. Normal sinks are in the center, but I needed this space back here for the hot water heater. So you can see in a van how specific things may have to be designed to fit. So not only was it was black, it was small, and had this, it was actually a deep sink, but that drain being moved to the back gives you some room, a little bit of wiggle room. Okay, so we're gonna move on from the sink, and we'll show you the countertop. So this is an 1.5 inch countertop. This actually was purchased from Lowe's, and it was cut down to size.
And it is what type?
Butcher block? It's just, yeah, butcher block from Lowe's, and it's solid butcher block. So you may wonder why we put such a heavy butcher block in here, and this is why. So Thomas is in a wheelchair, and the height of this needed to be as low as possible, but I needed the structural strength of this to span across the whole entire top. So you can see here, the fridge that we chose, this is actually laying on the fridge flush. So you can see this is the lowest possible way that we get the kitchen. So we went with that. This is a Vitrifrigo fridge. It's a drawer style fridge, and you can do fridge, freezer.
It's been wrapped.
And it's been wrapped in the camo that's on the outside of the van. So the hood that you saw earlier, it's been wrapped as well. Looks really cool. And it is stainless steel, but this protects it from the wheelchair wheels rubbing against the side. So if you're building for a customer, they can be a mountain biker. Thomas has a wheelchair. Always think about things that they may use on a daily basis that can scratch, the van up, and you want to use materials that can withstand that. So stainless, this is tough. 80/20 aluminum, very tough. Right here we have Formica.
Why this specific fridge?
So we chose this specific fridge because imagine if you're in a wheelchair, you can't, opening a door to get something out of the fridge is very inconvenient. If you had the cooler style, you could open it up and grab it, but now you're taking away counter space, so you can't use counter space, or you lose counter space. So with this one, what's nice is you can just pull it to your side. You can get whatever you want to, and then you can come up here and get whatever you want to, and you don't have to. You can access the fridge without opening the whole entire thing out. So that's why we went with that.
Have you shown these cabinets?
Yeah, we'll check out these cabinets. So up here, let me show you these two ports really quick before I forget. So this is where this is the Murphy bed where he sleeps. We're gonna get to this. It's really exciting. People love to see how this was designed. So his cell phone usually goes here at nighttime, and this is a good way to obviously charge it up. This is cool. These are really cool outlets. They were very hard to find. So if you see, it says 65 watts. So I needed to find a outlet that would charge an iPad and an iMac. I mean, not iMac, MacBook Pro. And you can't just buy a random outlet. You got to have something that has a something you can put a high you can have enough voltage to actually charge the device. And also, the cool thing about these are on the Amazon list, and you see how you can turn them on. So instead of going all the way to your power panel, you can turn these on and off from the actual system itself. So then you're wondering, why do I have two? Well, you need to always split the power consumption up on the circuit, because if you want to use a high watt charger on the top, but they're both off the same line, then it's going to have to sacrifice power from somewhere. So you always want to have these independently wired and independently fused. Next, we have a 36-inch, I think it's a 36-inch light. It's a touch on, touch off. So it just makes this...
it's LED light.
It's LED, yep. And then one thing that I'm very OCD about is color temperature. So make sure you match the color temperature of all the LEDs. This is, I call this my art piece of the van, is this ceiling. So this is pine that's been stained, and this channel, I made these LED lights for the top. It's a aluminum diffuser channel. And so basically this is 4, 8, 12. So it's 12 banks of LEDs that have all been soldered together into one continuous light. And I love it. It was very exciting. So the measuring to get everything nice and even, and as you can see here, you have to have a lot of forethought to actually have stuff come together very clean. So you're really mapping out how you're going to do it. So that took quite a bit of time, but the results are really stunning, I think. Very, very proud of it.
That's awesome.
We tried to get as much storage in here as possible. Believe it or not, this is something Thomas really wanted, was this type of kind of chef style sink, so that he could actually take this off and then wash down here and wash stuff off, as opposed to just a nozzle where you just can't really do anything with it. So there's always a give and take in a van. So if you notice, we can't come down with the cabinets because we want this to, be a part of the van. I'm not saying that this was the only decision, but one of them as far as this counter height, the height of this. Still got room for paper towel holder, but this cabinet right here, this 80/20 cabinet, we went with sliding style doors because they're very simple. They don't open up, and if you can imagine, if you're in a wheelchair, and if this is your van, you want things so easy and accessible and reachable to where you're not having to do a lot of extra work, since you actually have control of the environment. So back here, we have the cabinet. So you can open up from either side. So this is the cool part about this type of 80/20. So you can actually, if you ever need to, I got this from Humble Road. Shout out to Humble Road. George, I really appreciate your design or your ideas. So this panel back here, you can see it looks professional, but so what I learned from George is you design a panel like this so that if you ever need to get to your wiring back here, if you need to change anything, kitchen wires and stuff like that, you can access your wiring. And then when you're done, when you're finished, you can pop it back into place, and then this it'll be nice and clean. So let's put these doors back in real quick and we'll move to the back. There you go. And this material right here is a Riga Hexa. All right, so moving on over to the power system, we have, this is our main control panel for the van. The main system that we're using is the Red Vision with the Manager 30. So the Red Vision is the communication system that allows you to control everything from your phone. So everything that is in the van that's connected to the RedArc system is controlled via the app on your phone. We also have the Garmin. This Garmin unit is also Bluetooth, and this allows us to add more phone connectivity. Imagine, Thomas has hopped out of his wheelchair, he's in the driver's seat and he's driving down the road, but he's like, oh, I forgot to turn the lights off. He just pulls out his phone, he can turn the lights off, he can turn the fridge off, all of that. So between these two, these are the wireless controls for the whole van. The only switch that we have in the van is the dimmer for the lights. That's the only one. So this way he can just quickly, if he's in bed, just turn it off and then turn it back on. Doesn't have to access phone or this. But this is where you can do that. The second light over here is for the kitchen. And then the third light down here is our light for our power system. And it defaults to strobe mode, so we might change that later. We'll talk about the power in just a second. So we got that. This up here on the top is our JL Audio 12-inch sub. So this is the amp for the sub down here. So custom sub enclosure. Everything from the RedArc up is 12 volts. Everything from the RedArc down is 110 household power. So if we come over here, we've got our Cotec SP3000 inverter. If we just hold this down, we can turn our inverter on. Once the inverter is on, all of our circuits become live. We have the forward cabin outlet, which is the one, so when you hear the microwave beep, you know it's on. The forward cabin outlet, this one, is the outlet we showed you in the beginning. The main cabin outlet is this one right here. So this is what he would use to charge his Paragolfer. We have our microwave, and then we have our water heater. And so each one of these is a 15 amp circuit. And so at any time, if you are doing maintenance on the hot water heater, you can turn it off. If you need to unplug the microwave, so anything, if you need to actually work on it, you can safely disconnect it and then reconnect it. You don't have to have this used as a switch, but you can if it makes you feel comfortable. The water heater is down here on this timer. So you get a 5, 10, 15, 30, or 60-minute timer. When you turn this on, so let's just say we turn it on for 30 minutes, it'll give the hot water heater 30 minutes. That way you can walk away, not worry about it draining your whole entire battery if you forget. But it only takes about 15 minutes, 20 minutes to heat up all that water. Let's come up here at the top. We talked about the microwave. So right here is where we have the microwave housed. It's bolted in. We have an upper shelf. Again, that plastic here to access our wires in the case we need to. Back here in the back, I don't have it engaged, but this is, you can just check out a YouTube short we did. This is an RFID lock. So the back of this cabinet can be locked. So anything in this chamber, you'd have to remove the microwave to, you have to take this all apart to get to it. So this is a very secure spot to put anything that you need to make sure is, not mess with. Okay, so moving from here, we're going to come on down, and we're going to turn this on, and that way I can turn on this. Underneath here, we've got a red light so that at nighttime, we'll talk about the bed system here in just a second, but this way at nighttime, everything's red. it's dark enough so that you can see, or it's bright enough so you can see inside, but anybody outside the van can't see that you have lights on in the van. So it's as stealth cam it can be, even though you have a off-wheel or off-road style van. This is part of the bed cushion right here. So this was made by Rome Rest. So they make custom van mattresses. We have them in one of our tour videos. Down here is probably what you guys have been waiting to see. This is our power system. So we're using the Red Arc Manager 30 over here. That Manager 30 is what is taken in the all these circuits of the van. So we have all of our 10 amp loads on the left. We've got all of our 30 amp loads on the right. Obviously we have them fused according to whatever their needs are, but this box is what creates all the wireless capabilities of this van. The power is coming from the engine, and it's going, it's fused with the Link's distributor, so all the power from the inverter, the engine, the solar, this is all coming through here, where the bigger fuses, such as like mega fuses, for example, that type is within the Link's distributor. It's a good box to use just to make installation easier for your big power sources. Over here on the right hand side, we have two of our breakers for the solar. So we have 2 banks of solar up top. So we've got one breaker on the left, one breaker on the right. And then the box back here, this Red Arc, this is where the power from the engine comes from before it goes, comes into the Link's distributor, fused, and then it goes into here for charging the batteries. We can also charge it via shore power. We designed it so that this is not our primary, top off. We got our solar in the engine, but this right here is just in case. Red Arc pretty much just has a like a computer style power supply plug-in. It's a 30 amp DC to DC charger and an MPPT solar charge controller integrated into this box. So what we're charging here with the 30 amps is we are charging our 4 100 amp hour SOK batteries. So you can get down lower and check this out. So we have 4 SOK batteries in here. And then we also have a thermostatically controlled 2 intake and exhaust fans to make sure that since it's a very contained unit or tightly sealed off unit, we want to make sure we have good adequate airflow for the inverter if it gets too hot. So on the end of the inverter, there's a little probe that's epoxied on there, and that probe is going to turn those fans on at a set point. And then over here on our left, this is the last thing I'll show you before we check out the Murphy bed and go up on the roof. But over here, we have our water. So if we click our water on, you come over here, you see we have a light. So we got a blue light, and then if we turn it off, the light turns off. So that light is that backlight is what's gonna allow you to check your water level. All right, so we'll put this back up here. We also have our Max Air remote for the 2 fans. So one here, one there. And then now we have our Murphy bed. So we made this in-house. These are IKEA slats, so that gives the bed some flex. The bed's not in here, so you guys could we could film. But here's another part of the mattress pad. You can access the top of the water tank here if you needed to do any maintenance. And then again, we got our covering for wires right there. This has 2 safety systems, so that is the main system. You can lock it, it's not necessary. This is the backup. So this right here makes sure that this doesn't rattle when you're driving. These are all 80/20 specific components. All right, so that is the inside of the van. We're gonna hop on a ladder here. I'm gonna take you to the top of the van and we will finish up the tour. All right guys, my cameraman has left me, so you're with me. We're hopping on top of this van to show you the solar. So the top of this roof is a Flatline Vanco roof rack. And let me get comfortable here. And here we go. So this is the top of the van. And you can see we utilized as much of the roof real estate that we could. So what we have here is we have all Renogy panels. We've got a 175, a 175, and then so we've got, that's 350, and then so it's 350, 450, 550, yeah, 550. Each one of these are 50 watts. So if you guys want to know measurement wise, you can see that the 50 watts with the max fan fit between the rails on a Flatline Vanco van. This is also, I'll point out a couple of specific details. This is Ford's antenna for the satellite radio XM, the Ford Sync, that type of thing. That it does not need to be under a panel, so it is best to move that if you can. If you're not really going to use that, then not a big deal. You can kind of see here where the little cable is. Then we got our Baja Design light bar, our panels, and then we've got all of our wiring for our rear Baja Design Squadron Pros. So yeah, definitely a detailed roof up here as far as trying to use as much real estate from the roof as possible, but it came out really nice. All right guys, there are two things on this van that I completely forgot to mention that are important in the van tour, which is bug nets. So specifically, I wanted to shout out Bugwall. Bugwall is the company that did Thomas's van. So we have the door here, and if you go around back, we have the back wall is also done. So they actually make a cover to cover up the latches. So if you actually wanted to sleep with your doors open at night, that would be pretty cool. You could do that. Each of these strips magnetic down here, so that opens up really easy. And they even have like this bar down here, so it keeps this bottom from flapping around. And yeah, bug wall. So I'll be doing the bug wall for that van right there as soon as I get back to it. So I got that checked off the list. And that's not sponsored either. That's just the company we used, or Thomas found for his bug net. And as far as I can see, it looks really good. You have a zip up here on this side. And then this middle portion is the one that opens up magnet style. So you just walk in and then let it close behind you. But I'm gonna roll these up and I'm going to put out the awning because I did not showcase the awning during this van tour. So something specific I wanted to talk to you guys about was the safety of the awning. Not really thought about, but this is the awning light and the awning motor power. So check this out. If your awning motor power is off, there's no way that you can accidentally click this and it's going to extend the awning. So that is a really good safety feature. So if you can put something like this, a little bit of forethought into if you have a motorized awning, make it to where you can turn off the power so that when you're driving down the road, you don't accidentally like throw this in the glove box and it gets pressed and your awning starts to come out. But what we can do here is if I go ahead and I touch the awning on, we have our beep, and that is our wireless device that connects to the remote. So we're going to go outside and extend the awning. Let's come through here. Nova's hanging out. All right, so we have, there you go. So this is Dometic self-supporting awning. So it doesn't have the legs that come out, but we're just going to extend this. And yeah, so like I said, self-supporting awning. And as we're extending it, it's not doing this automatic, I'm holding the button. But right here, we have our wind sensor. So this will auto retract in the event of some, high wind. So look how impressive this is. Look how far that awning comes out. And so we got the awning so that Thomas could put his paragolfer that we talked about earlier underneath here during the rain and just outside in general when he's sleeping inside, get him some more room. Then if we go on the inside, we can come in here, we can turn our awning light on. And the awning light is up there. Of course, it is bright daytime. But yeah, that is our awning. And then as soon as we retract it all the way in, we'll cut the power off. And that allows us to stay safe and make sure the awning doesn't come out. So, all right, back onto the van tour. This side you can actually kind of see the camo privacy film that we got on there. What's nice is when you come inside the van, it is, you can see through it really nice. But I'll give you a little bit of B-roll here. Yeah, but that is the tour of Marine One. Hope you guys enjoyed it. If you have any questions as far as any of the products that have been used in the van, I'm gonna put together a list for our Amazon list. If you guys are looking to jumpstart your van build, I've created a DIY van build cheat sheet. It's essentially an Excel sheet of all the products that I've bought through Amazon over the past 3 years. They're all curated into an organized sheet that you guys can search through, click on the Amazon links. It really helps out the channel. It's a great way to support us. And this document, it's really going to help you guys. So if it's your first time building a van and you don't know what products to buy because there's so many products in the market, you don't want to buy products and have to vet them on your own, you can go on this list. This list is stuff that I've vetted. I've used these items. Anywhere from plumbing parts for the van, fuses, any type of hardware, bolts, nuts, screws, stuff for the 80/20. The most important thing on the list is the tools. The tools on this list are what I use to put Thomas's van together. So these tools are everything from the riv nut attachment for your drill, the Propex expansion tool for everything that we did in the sink area. I'm trying to think of some other tools. All the hole saws that I needed to actually cut out for the battery disconnects. All of those tools, the soldering that I use for the lights above, those tools are on there. So go there, It's gonna be a one-stop shop for you. It's gonna help you out. It's gonna help you save time and money by just buying the one thing you need instead of 20 things you need. So head on over to the link in the bottom in the description below. It's our DIY van build cheat sheet, and I'm really excited for you guys to check it out. So again, link is in the description below if you wanted to download that. It's a completely free download. So just put your name, email address, click download, it'll send it right to your inbox. It's completely free, and I know it's gonna help you out. Thanks so much for watching this tour, again, of Marine One. If you have any questions on this van build, put that in the questions below or the comments below. I'll be happy to answer any of those for you, and I look forward to seeing you guys in the next video.